Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about they will come back and beg to be with you again. Okay, so what's important to know about this is that when you've gone through a breakup and you are wanting your ex back, you need to shift the dynamic a little bit because obviously you're putting them you're putting them on a high pedestal there, right? And because if they're the one that's broken up with you, right, and this most of the cases that when people come to me, this is what's happened, like their partner's broken up with them. If your partner has broken up with you, in that dynamic, the dynamic is shifted so she or he is more attractive than you, right? Because even though they're not maybe conscious of it, right? Even if they're not conscious of it, because they've dumped you and you perhaps have maybe already begged or you've pleaded to get back with them, that shows that they are the desired one and you're not, right? You're the pauper, basically. You're the one that's begging. And the one that is begging is always the one that's in a weaker position. And you can tell this by not just in romantic situations, but in all different kinds of situations, right? If you're begging for a job, right, that puts you at the mercy of the employer that you want to employ you, right? And it shifts that power dynamic and makes them more powerful and you weaker and needier, right? So you can see all these kinds of things in different kinds of circumstances, even with like friendships. Like if you're the one that's begging for your friend's attention, if you're the one that's always messaging and initiating the conversation, the one that's always putting in the effort into the friendship, right, and basically they don't have to do anything, right, then they are the one that is, looks more powerful, looks better, right, and you're the one that's begging and needy, you see. So the answer to this then is to detach, right? Detach from your ex, right? So you can start shifting that power dynamic. So you're the one that looks more attractive and it ends up them the one that's begging to be with you, right? And if your ex still has feelings for you and you start displaying more strong behavior and you've got that indifference and you're more stoic about the situation essentially, then that's going to help that, right? Because if they've still got feelings for you, then when they start to sense your strength and your emotional centeredness, I guess you could say, then that's going to start attracting them back. And they're not even going to realize what's happening, basically. They're not even going to know why they've suddenly started to feel more attracted to you again. Right? They're not going to, they may know, but it's very unlikely that they'll know. They'll just be drawn back to you because they can now sense this inner strength that you've got. So the answer to this is to detach and become indifferent to the situation and to apply no contact, to do the no contact rule. Right? So you're no longer messaging them, you're no longer begging them, you're no longer trying to fix things, you're no longer trying to apologize 24/7 to them. Right? You got to go into no contact and then start to detach from them. And I think one of the best ways you can do this is by actually believing that they're not coming back, by assuming they're not coming back. Because if you take it for what it is, like, okay, my ex has dumped me. Okay, so I'm just going to now assume that they're not coming back. Because obviously they've dumped me, they don't want to be with me, there's nothing I can do. So the only thing I can do is just move on with my life. And what gets people stuck is that they think that they can actually change their mind and make them come back. Which in reality you can, that is a possibility, you can reattract your ex, but because they're living in that hope, it still makes them the more needy person, right? The one that's less attractive, the one that is begging, the one that is wishing and dreaming and hoping, and they're in that mindset basically, and it makes them weaker and more susceptible to making mistakes. Like they get really, really lonely one night and really, really sad, so they message their ex because they're hoping that maybe if I just send one last message that will help, right? And they get in that mindset, and it's all coming from this insecurity and neediness. So detaching and becoming indifferent is the goal, and the best way you can do that is to start assuming that they're not coming back and to start letting go and to try and move forward with your life. So going into my next point is that you need to focus on improving your life, because if your head is just focused, your mindset is just focused on love and getting your ex back, and your thoughts are filled with them, then that's taking up a lot of your headspace, a lot of your life. So you need to start focusing on other things that you have passion for, basically. So what are the things that you are passionate about? And it might be the case that you have no idea. Perhaps you don't really know yourself very well, right? So what I would say to that is just follow what interests you, like what perks your interest. Like you might be reading a magazine, you might be online, and some kind of topic perks your interest, and then you figure out what that could be, and maybe you start developing a hobby around it or something like that. So that's some advice on that if you're struggling with trying to find some kind of direction, something you're passionate about, right? So one of the things I ask people is, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? So where would you like to be living? What would you like your body to look like? What kind of friends do you want to have? How would you like to be spending your time? If you could like basically picture out your most perfect day, how would that look like? What kind of career do you want? What kind of area of work do you want to be in? Really start thinking seriously about those things, about what would your life look like if it was perfect? Right, if you could have it any way that you wanted it. But unfortunately, you kind of have to exclude your ex from that scenario because you don't know for sure if they're coming back. And if you include them in the picture, that may make you start being needy again. So it's best to just focus on maybe your career, your friendships, your hobbies, your fitness levels, those kinds of things, what kind of money you're getting. It's good to just focus on those things. And basically what you want to do is you want to start taking action on those things. Like how can you make those dreams a reality? And that may give you some passion, that may give you some direction, and that's going to make you feel a lot more happier about yourself when you start working towards these things. Because there's a quote that I really like by Dale Carnegie, I use it quite a lot on this channel, which is, inaction breeds doubt and fear. So inaction breeding doubt and fear means like if you're not doing anything, if you're idle, if you're only like spending most of your time on your phone or your PC or your MacBook or whatever, and you're not moving your life forward in any kind of way, it can make you feel more fearful of the future, fearful of how people are going to react to you, respond to you, your fear of losing different relationships that are important to you. And that's why inaction breeds doubt and fear, because what will make you feel better is taking actions, which leads into the next part of the quote, which is, action breeds confidence and courage. So if you're taking action towards these important goals for yourself and you're working towards them every day, like it could be that you're going to the gym every day, you could be working on a side business every day, or you could be working your way up in the company that you work for every day, you're trying to really improve those things, trying to improve your skills, that's going to make you feel really good and really confident about yourself, right? Which is why action breeds confidence and courage. Okay, so that's what's really going to help with those issues, right? Because if you are feeling needy, if you are lacking confidence, then one of the best remedies to solve that is by taking action on goals that are important to you. Because when you feel like you're succeeding, even if success is slow and you only get small victories, that's still a lot better than nothing and just basically sitting on your backside hoping that the world's just going to change around you and things are going to come to you. It's better to work towards your goals and to be proactive and productive, so you can actually see those things manifesting by your own power, and that will make you feel more powerful too, when you can kind of see that actually, yeah, you do actually have control over your life. Because maybe you can't control other people like your ex, right? We rarely have control over other people and how they think about us, how they see us, if they fall out of love with us. There's not really a lot we can do about that, right? There isn't. If someone's made up their mind to not love you anymore, there's not really much you can do, right? But you can influence your own life. You can, because that's the only thing you do have control over. You only have control over how you react to things and taking action on those important goals and dreams and taking action on other things as well, right? So it's really important then that you take action on your goals and find some dreams for yourself, basically, and stop waiting for life to just hand you everything, right? This is one of the things that I get so frustrated with my generation, like millennials, and even the generation below me, which is Generation Z. They just want handouts all the time. They just want the government to help them. They just want basically the lottery to load a bunch of money to just fall in their lap. And they want other people to solve their problems, and they want to be affirmed all the time, and they want everyone to basically go to the beat of their drum, right? Which is, in reality, that's not how the world works. Like, if you want life to improve for yourself, then you need to improve, right? If you want things to get better, then you need to get better, right? And if you want things in life, then you need to fight for those things. They're not just going to come to you, right? Okay? So When you're doing all of these things, then what your ex will then see, and why they may beg to come back to be with you again, is that they'll see that you're now thriving without them. You are doing so well, you're getting fitter, you're maybe making more money, you seem to be a lot more happier because you're working on things that you're really passionate about, that give you so much inspiration. And you're going to feel so good about yourself, and they'll be able to sense that. They'll be able to see that. They may even hear back from mutual friends that you guys may have and be like, oh yeah, so-and-so's doing so well. They achieved this, they did that. And they'll hear basically through the grapevine that you're doing better off, and you're better off without them, right? And that is going to confuse them. They're going to wonder about that. They're going to see you basically thriving and doing all these amazing things and working towards these amazing things for yourself. And they're going to question that. They're going to wonder that. They're going to question their decision about breaking up with you. And they're going to wonder if they made the right choice, right? And it may coerce them into reaching out to you again. So maybe they will want to get back with you. They may even beg to come back with you, right? Now, of course, what that comes into play as well is that you need to remember as well that, attraction isn't a choice. If they've lost all attraction for you, usually there's not really too much that you can do about that, because attraction isn't a choice. They may have been head over heels in love with you at one point, but if they no longer feel that way, and there's not even a spark left of how they used to feel, then there's not really too much you can do. But you can still, even with people that, exes that do feel that way, they can still get nosy, curious about you, and still may look you up, see that you're doing really well, and be like, wow, that's interesting. They seem to be doing so well, way better than what I thought they was going to be doing, right? And it may even hurt their ego a little bit, because I know a lot of people, check up on their exes because they basically want to get an ego boost to make sure that they're not dating anyone better looking than them. They also look at different things like, oh, are they still posting sad quotes about the breakup? Are they still not over me yet? And if they can tell that you're completely over it and you're not interested, maybe you're even dating someone way better than them, then that's going to hurt their ego, and it's going to knock them down a peg or two, basically, right? And maybe even, again, like I said, it may make them question their decision to break up with you, and perhaps maybe even as well they will consider trying to reach out to you and getting back with you. But then my question to you is by that time, if you've achieved all these things and you've done all these amazing things, and maybe you found yourself someone even better, will you even want your ex back? And I can guarantee that if you have found someone better and you're doing really well, you probably won't want them back into your life. So basically, this is all about flipping the value dynamic. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of the video, when someone dumps you and breaks up with you, no longer wants to be with you, they are in a more powerful position, whereas perhaps you're the one that's begging and pleading to get back with them. So they're like up here and you're down here, right? But when you start to achieve your goals, when you start to let go and you're indifferent and you no longer start to care about if they come back or not, it slowly shifts. Right, and they'll be looking back on you, especially if they've still got some feeling towards you, and wondering, wow, they're doing so well, and they may try and reach out to you, right, and they may beg to come back with you, basically, right? So it's all about flipping that power dynamic. So you're no longer the beggar, the pauper. You are the one that's no longer needy. You're indifferent. You're creating a life that's better for yourself. So you become you become more high value, basically, and they become less value, right? So that's essentially the advice that I have on that. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.christineloveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.